This is the Audacity Show. I am your host, Mia Dunlap. This show is bringing you stories from young people who are under 30 and living their lives with audacity. Welcome to the Audacity Show. I am your host, Mia Dunlap. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest, Miss Tai Abrams. Tai is an edupreneur. She also is an author, and she paid off, get this, $143,000 of student loans in 7 years. Yep, that's what I said. So let's find out how she did it. Hello, Miss Tai Abrams.
Hello, Miss Mia. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We are just so interested in the work that you're doing, one, as an edupreneur, that's big, and also as a person who is really interested in multi-generational wealth. Tell us about what you're up to.
Absolutely. So only a few years ago, I started my company called Admission Squad, where we help talented middle schoolers get into New York City's top high schools. Now, we've rolled out a couple cohorts. We've maintained an 80% success rate. And one of the most important things for me was making sure that they could graduate from college knowing that they could secure a solid career and actually build wealth. So I call it like the education to wealth pipeline. So most recently, I wrote my first book called Who Am I? An A to Z Career Guide for Teens, where I provide information on how students can start the career exploration process much earlier.
Yes, that is so powerful. And so you started this company, why?
Well, the reality is when I was in middle school, I really didn't have a lot of guidance. I did exceptionally well. I came from a single parent household. My mom did a wonderful job of, really directing me and my two sisters to get good grades. But we recognized that wasn't going to be enough. So it was a parent of a student I went to middle school with that was intent on a few of us doing very well on what we call the specialized high school admissions test. And had it not been for him and the other educators I had in middle school, I would not have gotten into the Bronx High School of Science, one of the top high schools here in New York City.
Yes, it is. That's a big deal.
Right. And so literally the rest is history. I went on to do exceptionally well at Bronx Science, got into Duke University where I majored in math, was on Wall Street.
Black woman majored in math, that's huge.
Exactly. I was on Wall Street, while I was in college as an investment banker. And then I started my career in government consulting, and I really I attribute all of that success to the educators I had in middle school. So I wanted to start a program that would do the same thing for a larger number of students here in New York City.
Wow. So you not only, what they call give back to your community, but you're giving back in a targeted way that helped you get to where you are.
Absolutely.
That's so powerful. And not just like, I'm going to give money, or you're like, nope, I'm going to teach you how to help yourself to get to these places that you want to be. That's so powerful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's pretty big. So from Duke and this program, Admission Squad, that you have, how did you know what your calling was, or how do you know what your calling is?
Sure. This is a great question. So again, as I said, I started off in government consulting. Yeah. Amazing start to my career down in DC. But it was a few of colleagues and myself, we were really trying to think through what we wanted to do with our lives. We interviewed a lot of people, found out a lot of folks were unhappy. They were just there because it paid the bills. It was a really great opportunity. So we decided we wanted to go after our dreams. So I really, I got introspective. I read a book called Let Your Life Speak.
Okay, by Parker Palmer.
Yes.
Yes. I have that book. I love the book. Yes.
Right. And that book really talked about how our vocation actually manifests itself when we're only like 5 or 7. Mm-hmm. So I had to start thinking through what is something that I love from a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the two things that showed up for me was mathematics and working with children. So I came back to New York and I figured out how could I put these two passions together to really build a life of my dreams.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that.
I am.
You're
I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're living it. Mm-hmm. That's so wonderful. So what I understand about your journey is that it took you 7 years to pay off $143,000 of student loan debt.
Right.
How in the world did you have the audacity to do that?
Oh my gosh. So we have to start off by even the fact that I had it, right? So keep in mind, I applied to Duke early decision, so I had no other options. And I didn't even understand what it meant to be middle income.
Sure.
So Duke really did not give me a hefty financial aid package. So I didn't even understand what any of this meant. All I know is that I was 22 with over 100,000. At that point it was 110, but after interest it's 143. When I say I considered all the avenues to get out of it, going off the grid, disappearing. I'm like, there's got to be these
to get out of what?
To get out of the debt.
Wow,
I mean,
okay.
loan forgiveness programs. And at some point I realized, people were telling me Obama was going to come through and save the day. Jesus was coming back,
right.
And when I realized none of that stuff was going to work,
right.
I had to figure out how to pay it off. So one of the biggest areas for me was I wanted to get married at some point. I'm not married yet, but I knew that whenever I did get married, I did not want to bring all this debt into the table, So I wanted to figure it out. So from 2009, when I graduated, I started coming up with strategies on how I could build wealth, how I can generate revenue that would allow me to pay off all of this money. And I'm so proud to say in October of 2016, it was already paid off, all of it.
So October 2016.
2016, yes.
Oh my
October of 2016.
How did you do it? Where did you start?
Oh boy. So again, I didn't want to just pay it off and just be debt free and still have to go back to a job that I hated.
Yeah.
So I figured, why not build a company of my dreams where I'm giving back, I'm also generating revenue, and I'm also achieving financial freedom all at the same time. So to be quite honest, I started off as a math tutor, working with children here in New York City, and you want to find a market that has some viability. So we know that the test prep and tutoring market is a multi-billion-dollar market, by the way. So I was like, this is perfect. I can start to really, knock down this debt and still work with children, which is my dream. So that's where it started. And, Admission Squad just came out of it because I really wanted to hone in on the middle school market and help those children to really get to that next level. And just one thing led after the other. I came up with all these different products and services and ways to generate revenue. And of course, I was able to become debt free. So I'm really excited.
So let me get this straight. You had a job as a consultant in the government while you had the tutoring job.
So I quit. I quit. You want to know why I quit? Because when I looked at the numbers on what I was being paid, and I was so grateful for the salary, but I knew, because I'm a mathematician, right? I did the numbers on how long it would have taken me to pay off that $110,000.
Sure.
And we didn't even talk about the interest, right? It would have taken me over 10 years. So I realized I need to earn more. And I was kind of going through the different avenues on how you can maximize your revenue potential. And of course, entrepreneurship was one door to do that.
Tai, you quit your job.
I did.
As you were trying to pay off $140-something thousand in loans to become a tutor. Okay.
It sounds crazy, right? But I said, when else can you take a risk? I was 24.
Hello.
No responsibility. I'm like young. I have energy. So I figured that was the right time to do it.
And you did it.
I did.
So tell us about some of the other services you've provided and things that you've done.
I've done crowdfunding for Black-owned companies. So I've helped a company to raise $10,000, another one to do $40,000. I've done social media marketing for folks. Of course, I'm an author now, so I am making that book go global. I'm just saying. I've done business coaching, financial literacy coaching.
Wow.
I mean, just so much. Like literally, what I try to communicate to folks is your passions, your skills, your interests, you can monetize that and turn them into assets and products and services that people need.
Wow. So is this what this book is about?
That's a part of it. So
okay.
I wanted my students who got into these top high schools to know about the avenues that they can go down if they want to protect their economic future. One of the statistics I talk about a lot is that 65% of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 to 20 years. And I don't think parents are aware of that. I don't even think our students are aware of that.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to know how you can build a mindset of innovation and value creation as they develop their career path in whatever discipline they choose. That way you're always marketable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you started you started knowing this information as a teenager or as a young adult? Like when did you come into this, like, we need to build multi-generational wealth mindset?
Right. So, I mean, one, I have to pit that success to my parents, like my mom, like her and my grandmother, we have properties in our home. So like within the family line. And that was important for us to understand real estate as a part of building wealth. But beyond that, as I graduated and I had all the debt and I realized that's not wealth, you know, that's debt. Debt is very different, right? And it's a stronghold and it can prevent you from realizing your full potential. So I recognize that a lot of folks are graduating from school not really being able to secure a job. And I think, the job that you get is the first opportunity for money creation that you can translate into wealth creation. And I felt that a lot of that opportunity was being lost because we weren't leveraging those college years wisely. So from there, especially me being on that debt freedom journey, I recognized, wow, like wealth is one of the most important areas that we should be focusing on. And there's ways that you can use your skills to turn it into that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a few statements, and I want you to finish the statement with one sentence or less. I have the audacity to
go after all of my dreams.
What's possible for teenagers now is
they can achieve multi-generational wealth once leaving college.
I deeply believe that
all things are possible through spirit, belief, and action.
God is
my everything.
I am
powerful, focused, driven, and destined to impact the world.
What's next for me is
becoming a global success coach to youth all over the world and love.
The thing that I care most about is
making sure that people have access to the information needed to achieve financial freedom and multi-generational wealth.
My life's motto:
leaders are not born, they are built.
You seem really ready for this.
I did an interview in Barbados, I told you.
Continue to tell your message to the world, and I want you to speak into the camera and let folks know, where can we find you?
Sure, so you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at I am Tai Abrams, and of course you can get a copy of my book at taiabrams.com. That's TAIABRAMS.com.
Thank you so much for being here, Tai.
Thank you.
This is Miss Tai Abrams. We're so lucky to have her on this show, and I want you to tune in next week to hear from another guest so that you can be inspired to live the life of your dreams. Do you have the audacity to do it?